Hey, Steele from Steele the Show here, and this is Halloween week. I didn't really have any horror movie posters, but I mean, nothing scarier than a good actor in an awful role, am I right? Alright, so Ouija 2, directed by Mike Flanagan, is about this family in the 1960s, I believe. They're basically a fake fortune teller, and that's how they kind of con money out of people. So they buy a Ouija board and add it to their props, and obviously they decide to play it, they break the rules, shit goes down. Now, I wouldn't know, but I've heard Ouija 1 is awful. I haven't seen it, I don't plan on seeing it, and this movie, directed by Mike Flanagan, actually turns out pretty good. When I first found out he was directing this movie, I was kind of disappointed because I thought this movie was guaranteed to fail, and I didn't want a bad movie on under his list of directed movies. Most of the mistakes were in the writing, which I know he helped write, so he's not a perfect man, but he did his best and made a pretty good movie out of a pretty bad franchise. I want to get through the cons of the movie first, because there are a few of them that I want to get through, and then I'll talk about the pros. First issue, at the end of the movie, about the third act, the pacing really tapers off. It's really bad. Like, stuff just happens and happens and happens, and then the movie drags on for maybe 5 to 10 minutes too long. So not, like, too painful to sit through. It's scary at the end. I won't pretend like it's not, but it's a little bit choppy. Another thing is the possessed girl doesn't scare me that much. Like, she's doing kind of regular things that they're trying to make scary, like jumping at people. I don't know. I've seen young girls jump before. It's not that scary to me. There are times when she is scary if she's like slowly walking across the ceiling or something with her mouth gaping open and dark eyes. That's scary, but a lot of the times she's not scary. In the middle of the movie, it's kind of a little boring. I was kind of, distracted thinking of other things because it just slows down a bit in the middle. There's some exposition stuff, and it's not unbearable, but it's a little bit slow. So that's about all I've got for the cons of this movie. Now on to the pros. So Mike Flanagan really made this movie feel old-timey. Since it's set a long time ago, he actually used the old Universal logo at the beginning of the movie. That was really cool. It got me hyped. And the title card for the movie, it looks old-timey and it's fantastic. Sometimes the movie has a little blip that appears up in the corner, like in old movies, and it's really cool. They usually use it when there's a scary scene happening, and it adds a very cool vintage effect. The acting and characters in this movie are very good, which is something I've noticed in horror movies this year. The characters are much improved. They're not just shallow, uninteresting characters. They're actually given some development. And while this movie's characters definitely aren't the best I've seen for a horror movie, they're definitely serviceable and an improvement on previous horror movies. If you want to see some other examples, look at Mike Flanagan's other films, Hush and Oculus. They have better characters than this one, and they're very well put together. He does a great job with characterization. The movie's decently scary. If you are looking for a scary movie this Halloween, it's kind of your only option, and it's not a bad option. I'm glad that it's pretty good, because usually PG-13 horror is not so good, but this one's definitely worth checking out in the theater. One thing that this movie does, which I think is a good choice, it might have been either Mike Flanagan's choice or the studio's choice, I'm not sure, but they don't put the Ouija board at the center of the movie. It's just a piece of the story that kind of propels it along and like keeps things moving and interesting, but it's really not focused on at all. And that's actually a good tactic, I think. It's not too in your face, and it's pretty good. Lets the movie focus on the characters rather than the stupid Ouija board. So one thing I had listed as a pro that could also be a con is this CGI demon kind of guy in the middle of the movie. I'm kind of a sucker for good CGI, but I know a lot of people don't like it, and it is a vintage feeling movie, so it might be a little out of place for you. Personally, I liked it, but who knows. Another thing to note is that this movie could take place in the Conjuring universe. The preacher mentions near the end of the movie that he should reach out to the church, because they have people that deal with this sort of thing. And I was like, that sounds exactly like The Conjuring. Ouija Conjuring crossover? That's an awful idea. Alright, so that's been Ouija 2. As you may have noticed, me and Sam are doing a thing called Halloween Week this week, where we're reviewing a movie in the spirit of Halloween, leading up until Monday, every day this week. If you want to leave a suggestion for future theme weeks, please do so in the comments section. There's only going to be a few suggestions, so if you leave one, you're very likely to get chosen as a future theme week. Just keep that in mind. If you enjoyed this review, please leave a like, subscribe, and share, and as always, steal the show.
Spirit, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. And we can see you.
Who are you talking to, Doris?
Daddy, are you there?
I should be doing this, because that's the thing, right?